The male gaze in film is a heterosexual point of view that emphasizes spectacle as the objectification or sexualization of women, that in turn leads to the empowerment or pleasure of the male. In this video essay, I'm going to be analyzing a few shots from a popular scene from the Fast and Furious series that specifically emphasize the male gaze and how film sets a standard for the heterosexual male and how they should look at and desire women, and in turn how women should want to and only aspire to be looked at and desired by the powerful male. The three shots that I'm going to be analyzing are the point of view shot, the cowboy shot, and the close-up.
Deixa pra lá, eu continuo viajando. Enquanto eu falo besteira, nego vai, então deixa.
Eu dizer o que penso dessa vida. Preciso demais desabafar.
Beginning with the point of view shot, I found this shot to be the most important to my argument of a heavy presence of a male gaze in this scene, because as we're seeing Giselle, we're seeing her through the eyes of her love interest, Han Lu. We see through Han's perspective or gaze, which is the typical heterosexual, strong, and heroic male. Besides the entire focus of the scene being Giselle using her body to gather information for the mission, we see the way that Han desires her body and is more engulfed by the way that she looks, rather than what's taking place on the screen. As an audience, from this point of view, we're encouraged to focus on Giselle as the male would, as a sexually desirable object, seeing her actions in a sexual manner, not strategic. Moving on to the cowboy shot, even from a distance, most of the shots focused on Giselle are from the mid-thigh and above. While it might have been meant to frame the action of the scene along with some of its background elements, there's still a clear focus on Giselle's bodily features rather than her performance of the task. And while that might emphasize some confidence in herself, overall there's not much effort put in making her actions appear heroic over erotic. The male gaze discredits the woman and puts her in her place as spectacle and only spectacle.
Passa mal e você me disse que cada vai colher o que plantou porque.
Finally, the close-ups on Giselle and Han's faces give a lot of insight to the presence of the male gaze in this scene. Not only does it show Giselle's flirty and sensual attitude, but the way that she looks at Han, like she wants him to look at her and watch her work her magic. It also shows Han's fascination with Giselle. As he continues to look, the disassociation from Giselle as a woman to an object begins. If you continue watching the films throughout, you know the actual and real love that Han holds for Giselle. However, in these moments, to him and the audience, she is the spectacle, incapable or inescapable of any purpose other than being desired or defined by her to be looked at-ness. In most of Giselle's scenes throughout the movies, and specifically this one, the attention is always directed away from the progress she makes for the team and as a character, and directed towards fetishizing and creating an erotic scene aimed to pleasure the patriarchal male's fantasy or ideal of women. The reading I was able to connect these examples to was in Mulvey's Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema, specifically when she said, going far beyond highlighting a woman's to be looked at-ness, cinema builds the way she is to be looked at into the spectacle itself. Playing on the tension between film as controlling the dimension of time and film as controlling the dimension of space, cinematic codes create a gaze, a world, and an object, thereby producing an illusion cut to the measure of desire. I connected this because all of these shots from the male gaze take away from the mystery and the threat of the power that women hold, and minimize them to merely sexual objects and displays created in the eyes of the male.